All right, so thanks very much for taking the time. We're going to talk about the ICF designations today. If you wish to type any questions you might have throughout the presentation in the chat, say hi to everybody else, maybe note where you're calling in from and any questions you have or anything you want to get out of the webinar. Today on the screen now, you see our website, centerforexecutivecoaching.com. If you click Get Certified, we're currently filling for our 3-day in-person seminar. We haven't offered an in-person seminar for about 1.5 years now because of the pandemic. We're excited to do it. It's actually going to be a very small group sitting around a table getting great at executive coaching. So if you're interested, you should go to the webpage and check that out. That's taught by our faculty member, Mike Neuendorf on the West Coast. I'm teaching our next December 6th through 8th virtual seminar. And by the way, we have no other in-person seminars on the books. We're just going to see how this one goes. So it's going to be a small group sitting around a boardroom, learning, coaching, and then we're back to our virtual format, December 6th through the 8th. I'll be teaching that one. If you don't want to attend a seminar, you can also get certified with us anytime through our core program. Again, if you go to Get Certified and click the core program, you'll see how that works. The seminars include the core program, so they cost a little bit more. And yes, we are ICF accredited as an ACTP. Okay, so take a look at our website. If you find me rambling a little bit and you want to learn more, if you'd like a strategy session, that's really the reason I do these. So you get a sense of who we are, my style, the Center for Executive Coaching. And if you're interested in getting certified, I think now's a great time to do it. Just reach out anytime via our website. I'll give you my email a little bit later so that you can, so we can have a talk and just see if it's a fit or not. All right, so with that, let me go to our presentation. The purpose today is to introduce you to a few things. One, I want to give my overview, my perspective on the executive coaching marketplace, and then move into the ICF. Do you need an International Coaching Federation designation or not? What is it? Who should get it? How do you get it? And how does that relate to the most important thing, which is your success as an executive coach, whether you're an internal coach or you're setting up your own coaching practice. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover today. Again, we're using the chat, not Q&A. Ask questions anytime, and I'll take questions at the end as well. Okay, so we've covered the agenda. So this is me. I just love where I live. I actually live in 2 places, but one of the places I live is on an island off the west coast of Florida. You can only get there with a car ferry that you see here. It goes back and forth up until about 11 p.m. at night. The reason I want to share that with you is because I work as an executive coach. And as a result of the pandemic, although this was true for me before the pandemic, but even more so now, I have clients from around the world, right? I can live on an island with a car ferry in the middle of nowhere, as long as I have internet connection and a decent cell phone coverage, and work with executives, leaders, business owners, mid-career professionals from anywhere. So if I can do it, you can do it too. That's one of the opportunities now is the world has gone virtual. So you don't have to be a local expert only. You can be a national or international expert. The way we like to introduce ourselves is with the many testimonials of our graduates. If you go to my LinkedIn page, you can see well over 250 actual recommendations, not endorsements. Basically the Center for Executive Coaching is the program for you if you're a high-end professional, if you're practical, if you understand the importance of delighting clients and getting results without fluff, without being a life coaching program in disguise, without an emphasis on some sort of philosophy or pseudoscience that you have to push on your clients. As you'll see soon, we're very eclectic, very situational, and high-end professionals, people with a track record of success in leadership, many of them with advanced degrees, many of them successful consultants, already coaches. They come to us to learn the best practices in coaching in a way where we're not hitting you over the head with too much academic theory. And again, there's no fluff. Everything we do is about delighting clients, getting measurable results with clients, and using practical approaches and best practices in coaching. My favorite testimonial is not on here. I just got it. We just did a seminar a couple of weeks ago, and one of the participants had been to another coach training program. And what she said as she was going through the training was that her previous program was like being in the minor leagues or even T-ball in baseball. And our program is like being in the major league. So much so, in fact, that two of the largest management, CEO advisory and consulting firms in the world are engaging us to train their senior level people as coaches. So that's who we are. One more thing about me, I was a management consultant about 20 years ago and noticed that clients already knew the answers, right? And if you've ever worked with management consultants, you know they're often hired to make a case that the client already knows the answer to. And at one point I asked a client, I asked a few of them, but gradually I saw a pattern. One of them said, Andrew, I asked him, I said, why do you spend all this money on the work that we've done if you already knew the answer? And what he said was, Andrew, I know the answer, but I don't know how to get it done. And that's really where I find your value. I don't need a team of analysts. I don't need 500-page PowerPoints. I need someone I can talk to who has no agenda, who's on my side, where I can share things in confidence, and you can help me as a sounding board, get clarity, have insights, and move forward to make the difficult decisions I have to make to help this organization be successful. And I was at that point, I said, you know, I don't need any more of this consulting work. What I want to do is isolate this. And that's essentially what executive coaching is having high impact, super important conversations with clients on the biggest issues they face. And I've loved it ever since. You can see me here. I'm working from a home office, have plenty of time, work with great people. It's a lucrative profession, and I absolutely love it. Okay. So let's talk about the executive and leadership coaching marketplace. This is a great time to get in. Coaching in general and executive coaching especially have been established enough so that people know what it is, but there's still a lot of growth available in the market, right? Because coaching, what it does, it's a proven approach to professional development. It continues to grow. It continues to evolve. There's return on investment studies. You can go to the International Coaching Federation website and find these. You can look them up on the internet. But they show that for every dollar invested in coaching, there's typically $4 to $8 returned. And when you combine coaching with training, you can get 4 times the results of training alone. That makes obvious sense to me, right? A training ends, people forget what they've learned. There's no reinforcement. Coaching reinforces the results. And so that's why well over half of the Fortune 500 companies out there rely on coaching as a standard professional development tool. My market isn't the Fortune 500s, right? I think, you know, that can be a tough nut to crack at the top, but there's millions of mid-market companies, right? Small to growing companies where you can go directly to the decision maker. You can tap into a consulting versus a coaching budget. You can be super successful. It's also great to be an internal coach if that's of interest. There's lots of ways to think about how to be a coach. You can coach leaders at all levels, right? I'll be using the term executive coaching today, but when I do that, I'm talking about leaders, right? We could be talking about C-suite leaders, whether in large, mid-market, or small organizations, senior leaders, middle managers, first-time managers, up-and-coming talent or high potentials, professionals in the midst of career transitions, and of course, entrepreneurs, business owners, even solopreneurs. Okay, so there's a lot of places you can play. All types of organizations are interested in coaching. I believe the secret, by the way, to being successful here is to be more than just a coach, right? What we teach you is how to position yourself as a trusted advisor or earn the right to be a trusted advisor. Often that means coaching and more. Coaching, facilitation, training, assessing, and so on. But you know, I've worked in, and our graduates work in large, mid-sized, and small for-profits, nonprofits of all sizes. That's where I got my start. Federal, state, and local government, educational institutions, and again, solo professionals. And there are tons of situations where coaching can make a difference. And when you join the Center for Executive Coaching, you're going to get coaching solutions. You're going to get situational coaching solutions and tools that specifically go deep on how to coach clients when they're facing specific challenges. No other organizations comes even close to the depth that we go into on the areas that clients hire you for, whether it's general professional development, influencing with impact, eliminating a behavioral blind spot, shifting limiting beliefs that might be holding the client back, resolving conflict, engaging and motivating employees and measurably getting those engagement scores up, leading teams or improving performance on dysfunctional teams, navigating and leading change, planning and executing strategy. That's part of my bread and butter. I use a coaching model for strategic planning that organizations love. In fact, one of our graduates just won an engagement competing against some Big Four consulting firms, where she and her team are going to work with the client using a coaching model. It's less expensive for the client. It respects the client's knowledge. It doesn't outsource their brains. It's just a phenomenal approach that we teach that she'll be using. So I'm really proud. That's a Fortune 200 company with the CEO. Success in a new role, creating a high-performing culture, developing a pipeline of leaders, and a big one today, overcoming overwhelm of all types. Okay. And you know, there's almost unlimited niches. These are just a few: technology, scientific, and clinical leaders. That's been a huge niche in the last couple of years because these are growing organizations and you have a ton of people, sometimes young new leaders, sometimes highly educated leaders who really haven't learned about leadership. They have great expertise and education, but they don't know how to lead people. They don't know how to scale their organization. They don't know how to get the most out of their teams. Professional service firms and knowledge workers, same thing. Success in a new role is where my last 3 clients came from. You know, a new CEO who came from a COO position, for instance, and had to develop a better strategic and vision as part of their new role. Owners of growing businesses, family businesses, financial services is big, especially now with fintech, as well as the challenges that traditional financial services companies face. Nonprofits is always huge. Just like with tech companies, you have very passionate people, but they haven't always learned how to lead, how to influence, how to motivate. Military is a big niche right now, whether it's returning military leaders or within the military. In fact, the military, US military, has a program now to teach coaching. Teams, always big, high potentials, change initiatives, and on and on. But these are some of the top niches I'm seeing today. So bottom line, coaching is awesome. I love it. It's made a big difference to me. And our members come from, again, they're seasoned professionals. They're going to be successful in anything they do. We give you and them the coaching skills they need and the marketing and business development approaches to become the go-to professionals in these niches. All right. So with that, let's move to the International Coaching Federation, which is what you've come here for. And again, what I want to, one of the biggest questions we get, people call and say, I'll say to them, do you want an ICF designation? And they'll say, I don't know, do I? Or they'll say, I think so, but it turns out they don't really know what it is. By the end of this presentation, you should know what the ICF is and have a strategy and know whether a designation is right for you or not. Okay. So this is the leading organization, professional association for coaches. They call themselves the gold standard for coaching. And really what they've done is a great job marketing themselves as the standard for coaching. Okay. And they've done that because they have chapters, they advocate for coaching, they offer their designations. And I think they've just won the battle of marketing with HR departments in large companies. They provide 3 designations for coaches. The last one, the MCC, I'm going to say is for an overachiever, right? I'm not going to cover that one. That's generally for those who want to be mentor coaches and coach other coaches, you know, so that they to do the 10 hours of mentor coaching that you need for the ICF. But it's also a badge of honor. You need at least 200 training hours plus 2,000 coaching hours. So let's table that one for now. The most common one that professionals come to us for is the PCC and then the ACC. The ACC is the entry level one. For that, you need 60 training hours plus 10 hours of mentor coaching and 100 hours of coaching experience. In a moment, though, I'm going to make the case that it's better to just get the training for the PCC. You save a lot of time, a lot of hassle, a lot of bureaucracy. The PCC takes 125 training hours, and there's great news this year. During the pandemic, the ICF they made accommodations. They made it easier to get their designation because people couldn't travel for training. They essentially said of the 125 training hours, it used to be you needed 100 synchronous or live. Now, and then they changed it to only 50% of the hours have to be synchronous or live. And they said, you know, we'll do this and we'll play it by ear. Well, they just made it permanent. So this is amazing because this will save you a lot of time. For busy professionals, it means half of your time you can read our textbook, you can read our toolkits, you can go through our member area where we have hundreds of hours of videos waiting for you of our previous classes. So you can go through and get your training much more quickly than ever before. And I'll talk more about that soon. Over 20,000 coaches worldwide have received an ICF designation. So again, they've done a really great job. Those coaches then talk about the need for the ICF, and it tends to snowball on itself. There's also a second one that is rising. If you have a master's degree or higher, at least with us. Now you can join our program without any degree. That's not about us, but for those of you who have a master's degree, you can get 60 hours of training with us and have 30 hours of coaching experience and apply to the Center for Credentialing and Education. They're a group of professionals who do board certification. So they're different than the ICF. They don't have chapters. They're not an advocacy association. They board certify psychologists, social workers, and coaches. So if you have a master's degree or higher, it's a great way to get a well-respected credential. And it's nice to say board certified. And you don't have to jump through as many hoops as you would with the ICF. You still have to take an exam. And that's included with all of our programs, whether you join our core program or our seminar, it's included. You just have to have that master's degree or higher. Again, you don't need a master's degree or higher to join us, but you do for this. Okay, so your two choices, the ICF, the Center for Credentialing and Education. So here's the big question. Do you need an ICF designation? Again, great news. If you're asking that question, right? If you're not sure, like some people are sure, they know they want it, and I'll explain in a moment why you would want it. But if you're not sure, just wait. Just wait. We've set our program to be modular. In other words, with our core program, which is done via distance learning, with our 3-day seminar, which accelerates your hours, gets you our certification, and includes the core program, all you have to do is add $2,500 more, and we add the ICF mentor coaching. That's all you're missing, 10 hours of ICF mentor coaching over 3 months. So if you're not sure, don't worry about it. You can accumulate all the other hours. You can do all the work you need to do. And if it seems like the ICF is right for you, you can just add it and you can get it. It's that easy. Okay, everyone clear on that? This is super important. We're not forcing you into the ICF. Just to give you some statistics, probably 100% of people who join our program join us because we're accredited as an ACTP with the ICF. 50 or 60% follow through and get the ICF designation. The others realize they don't need it. Here's the types of professionals who will want the ICF designation. You can see it on the screen. And by the way, if you do have questions and you want to talk it through, just shoot me an email anytime and we can set up a strategy session. Right? I see a few of you have very specific questions for yourself. That's great. I'm probably not going to be able to answer them here because I want to answer questions that apply to everybody. Just email me. We can set up time if you're serious about joining a program soon. So here's who wants the ICF. If you are a pure coach, right? A pure coach means that's all you do. You don't do facilitation, you don't do consulting, you don't do assessments. And that means you're going to go through human resources at large organizations. Well, they're going to want to see a credential like the ICF. Okay, I don't recommend that model, by the way, and we'll talk about why in our program. I think that's the hardest road, is to be a pure coach going through human resources at large organizations. There's just too much competition, and there are many ways to get sole source deals and work directly with the decision maker and not have to work through human resources that often has a smaller budget and a much longer life cycle to purchase. If you're a coach or you want to be a coach and you know you're working with credential focused industries like healthcare, universities, higher education, and the federal government, you're going to need the ICF. I know, for instance, the federal government, like the Department of Defense, requires an ICF designation. Again, there are ways around it. I have my PCC from the ICF. I've never been asked once for it, except by the ICF, because I needed to train this program, right? So I have figured out many entrepreneurial ways, and I've worked with the federal government. Some of you are calling in from countries that have more formal cultures than perhaps in the United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, Asian countries. Often an ICF designation is seen as very important, some sort of credential, just because there's a more formal culture. And finally, we get coaches who just say, you know, if I'm going to do it, I want the gold standard. And so they just feel better about having that third party designation. Okay, so as the market goes, you know, what I advise is if you're not sure, let the market tell you. Don't worry about it. Start with our core program, which gets you everything we have except the mentor coaching, or our seminar, which includes the core program. Add it later. If you already know you want it, you can join and get that up front. The one thing I have heard from the ICF that they report is that in their studies, coaches with ICF designations tend to earn more. Okay. So maybe you don't need one if you plan on working where I work and where a lot of my colleagues work, which is where the vast majority of organizations are and where the biggest market is. And that's the small. And by small, it could be a startup that is venture funded. It could be a growing company that has funds, you know, maybe $500,000 to $1 million and up, and growing mid-market or mid-sized organizations. If you're going to work there, we're going to show you how to go directly to the decision maker. You know, HR might or might not be involved. Often you can pull from a much larger consulting versus coaching budget. You can position yourself as more of an expert, trusted advisor versus pure coach. And you're not going to need the ICF. Okay, that's really where the best opportunities are, working with actual decision makers. Again, pulling from larger consulting budgets versus HR coaching budgets. You can do both, but I found this is really the sweet spot. And again, if in doubt, let the market tell you our program is modular. You can accumulate all the training hours and coaching experience hours you need as you go. So let me run through the requirements. As I said, the ACC is their entry-level designation. If you go to the ICF website, it's super confusing. In fact, someone from the ICF called me and said they like this presentation. I've done it before. You know, would I do it for them? Because it is so unclear on their website. There's something like 3 different paths for each designation. So that's potentially 9 different pathways. With the ACC, for instance, technically you only need 60 hours of live training plus 10 hours of ICF mentor coaching. But there's a problem with that. The problem is you're going to have to send the ICF 2 recordings with a transcript. And from what I've heard, it can take them 12 weeks or more to review them. It can be very subjective. And every 3 years, you have to spend additional money for additional requirements that you don't need for the PCC. So an alternative is to take our 125-hour ACTP program. It's actually faster, especially now with the 50-50 accommodation they've made, where only 50% of your hours have to be live. That's almost 60 hours right there. And the rest can be self-study. Then we just give you a piece of paper that says ACTP on it, has some other language. You give it to the ICF. You don't have to submit any recordings to them. And you can upgrade to the PCC. You don't have to pay us for any more training as long as you upgrade to the PCC, I think within 3 years. In addition, the ACC requires 100 hours of coaching experience hours. We have a whole part of our website that matches you up with other coaches in our program who are equally hungry to barter coaching, because bartering with other coaches counts as paid hours. Like if I coach you for an hour, you coach me as for an hour, we each get 1 hour and it's counted as paid hours. The PCC requires more. It requires 500 coaching experience hours. If you do the full ACTP, that 125 hours of live training, you're done. So what a lot of people do is first they get their ACC, then they get additional coaching experience. And if they've done the ACTP path that we recommend, You don't have to pay for any more training. You're done on the training side. You just have to get your experience. So if you look at that bullet on the bottom right, essentially the ACTP path is the most efficient way to complete both the ACC and the PCC. You can start with the ACC and upgrade, and all you have to do is send in our certificate, and they'll also ask you to confirm your coaching experience hours. Somebody in the chat asked, how long will it take? Well, it takes about 5 to 6 months. The limiting factor is really the mentor coaching. And the reason for that is that takes 3 months. Even though it's only 10 hours in a cohort of 10 people, it takes 3 months by ICF rules. And there's a little extra time before and after to process things. At the same time, accumulating your coaching experience hours sometimes takes longer than the training. All right, so bottom line, if you're thinking of an ICF designation, just jump into an ACTP. It's worth it now, especially with their 50-50 accommodation, where you used to have to get 100 live hours of training. Now you need just half of your 125 hours, about 63 hours, including the mentor coaching would be live. And the rest you can do self-study. It's really a great accommodation. It's a big breakthrough to make it easy for busy professionals, okay? So let me explain how we connect, as well as give you an overview of the ICF core competencies, just so you can see those, okay? Again, we're an ACTP, that means accredited or approved coach training provider with the ICF. We give you the easiest path to apply to the ICF, but unlike other programs that just teach you the core competencies and maybe some life coaching or some academic theory, we are going to go way beyond the requirements of the ICF designation so that you succeed. Right? What we found is, even though the ICF establishes itself as the gold standard, there's a lot more that you have to learn to be successful in the market. And so let me just explain how you can get the hours you need with us. Hold on, sorry about that. First of all, we have live webinars. We have 3 cycles of 3 one-hour webinars weekly. That's 9 one-hour webinars. They're via Zoom. They're super interactive. You're going to be practicing coaching, asking questions, meeting your cohort, and so on. You choose how many to attend. We make sure our webinars stand on their own because we know how busy you are. So each one stands on its own, and we teach in mini modules of like 1 to 5 classes. In other words, you know, like this week, we might be teaching how to coach a client to be successful when they have a high stakes influence conversation. The next week, we might talk about how to coach a client who wants to improve engagement and motivation among their team. Then we move to how do you coach a client who wants to create a high performing culture, and on and on and on and on. So you can join anytime. The program includes the 10 hours of mentor coaching, and you can add an optional seminar. Again, we have a live in-person one at the end of October in San Mateo, right near San Francisco. You can see that on our website. Mike Neuendorf teaches that, our West Coast faculty member. And I'm teaching a virtual one December 6th to 8th. That will get you our certification, certified executive coach, and about 30 hours towards the ICF. We give you a spreadsheet so that tracking your hours is super simple. Okay, it even tells you, are you at the 50-50, synchronous, asynchronous? When are you done? You know, essentially you just put in the topic, the instructor, whether it was synchronous hours or you did self-study, how you logged in if it's live participation, so we can cross-check via our Zoom records. We give you a start and end code so we know you were there. And if you listen to a recording, we ask you just to type 1 to 2 takeaways. Okay, so tracking your time is really simple. We give you a form to do that. Before I get to our advantages, let me just show you some stuff from the ICF, okay? The ICF just launched and rolled out a whole new set of core competencies. I don't know how many years, like 15 years maybe, they had the old set. I probably have the wrong fact there, but for a lot of years, they had a set of core competencies. They did a ton of research, and they rolled out a new set of core competencies. I want to show you these both so that you know what they are, but second, I want you to see how high level these are. right? What I want you to conclude when I read these to you, you can read them on the screen with me, is that these are so general that you have to be very careful about which coach training program you get yourself into, right? If you're looking for health and wellness coaching, we're not the right program for you. There are health and wellness coaching programs that follow these competencies. If you want whatever life coaching is, I've never met a life coach who makes money at it, that's a different program. But if you want to coach leaders, executives, up and coming talent, business owners, you need more than these core competencies. And that's what we provide. Let me read them to you, right? So there's 4 categories and 8 total core competencies, right? One is what they're going to call foundational. That's demonstrating the ethical practice of coaching. The ICF, one of my favorite things about the ICF is their code of ethics. I'll show it to you next. And embodying a coaching mindset, right? This is a mindset that's open, curious, flexible, and client-centered. Next is, how do you create the relationship with the client? So one is, how do you establish clear agreements about the coaching relationship? We're going to show you how to do that with a market-facing process. We give you sample proposals, coaching plans. We give you a template so that you can create a coaching process that's your own. Cultivating trust and safety, right? The people who join our program already know how to do that. Right? I believe that's not necessarily something you can teach, although we can observe whether it's there or not. It's basically creating a safe, supportive environment that allows the client to share freely. Presence means you're there, you're listening, you're present, you're conscious, you're open, flexible, grounded, and confident. Again, most of the people who join us already have presence. We just have to switch it to presence in the context of coaching. The third category is communicating effectively. So there's coaching is about listening. The key to the kingdom in coaching is listening. So every coach training program works a lot on how do you listen. Again, our clients, our members tend to be pretty good listeners, although perhaps not in a coaching context. And so we work with you on different ways to listen to help move the client forward. And then part 2 is evoking awareness, right? Helping the client have insights. For us, this is where the money is earned. Having clients leave a session saying, wow, I didn't see that before. Now I see it. Now I'm committed to new actions. And finally, cultivating learning and growth is their 4th category, and their 8th competency is facilitating client growth. That's really what coaching is about. Now, they go into more depth. They have subcategories that are very helpful on their website. But I just want to share this with you because if you're thinking about getting into a coach training program, you could see that many programs could go in very different directions. Right? We're completely focused on the success of your clients through measurable results, and therefore the success of you, whether you're an internal or external coach. They also have a code of ethics, and you can download this from their website. If you take their knowledge assessment, they're going to go deep on this. They have a lot of commentary on their code of ethics, but basically it's pretty simple. Don't steal, don't lie, don't misrepresent your credentials. If the client wants to quit, they can quit. Have clear agreements, maintain confidentiality as agreed. Don't get romantically involved with your client, and in fact, maintain appropriate boundaries. Be sensitive to the client's culture, values, and so on. Okay, so you'll see that they define coaching, they define coaching relationship. You're going to stand for the ICF core values. And then it's basically what's your responsibility to clients, your responsibility to practice and performance, and your responsibility to professionalism and ultimately to society. I really like this document. You can download it, you can read it. You're going to have to understand it, but it's very simple, right? It's basic. Any of you who come from a professional background have probably seen something similar about being the consummate professional, having integrity, and so on. So those are really the 2 things that the ICF brings to us in terms of content, in addition to chapters, doing research about coaching, having conferences, and being a general advocate for coaching. So the point is, if you're going to get into a program, you better get into one that can take you beyond what I just showed you. Because what I just showed you might be necessary, but it's not sufficient. I hope that makes sense to everybody. It's necessary, but not sufficient. The people who come to us come from top organizations around the world. We have Olympic athletes. We've had some professional athletes, professional coaches of, for instance, NBA teams. We have leaders from all aspects of life in the C-suite, the directors, vice presidents. We have published authors, best-selling authors, coaches, consultants, returned military, government officials, university leaders, a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And here's why. First of all, again, every ICF ACTP is going to give you the core competency training. They'll probably match you up with a cohort with whom you can practice coaching. They'll give you hours towards the ICF designation. They'll give you the required mentored coaching. Big whoop. Okay, it's not enough. We want members who aspire to be at the top of the field, whether you're internal or external. We're looking for people who want to be among the top coaches worldwide. By the way, this could be an encore career for you. Maybe it's something you work part-time. I'm fine with that. I just want to have great people with great backgrounds who want to help others be better. I want any of you who aspire to be among the top coaches in the world and who want to deliver unmatched value and significant results for your clients. We want to deliver unmatched value for you. And we want to help you feel confident, energized, passionate, and of course, competent in everything you do. That's our goal. We want the people who are on the right side, far right side of the bell curve. So here's 6 reasons or 6 things that set us apart. Okay, and then I'll take questions. 1, what we do is real life. Okay, we're not going to hit you over the head with theory. Most people who join us have had enough education and theory. Everything we do is grounded in theory. I'll refer to it quickly, but I'm not going to make you read a ton of textbooks about different theories. I'm going to break it down the way that most of our members like, which is bottom line. We're going to give you real life coaching cases. Coaching is a practice. The way to get better is to do it, not to think about it, to practice. So we have real life 360-degree verbal reviews and that data. We use a bunch. We're right now, in fact, in the cycle I teach, we're going through a survey course on using data, especially off-the-shelf assessments. We're going through the top assessments in the world and presenting them and saying, so how would you coach a client to get better with this kind of data? We show you executed coaching contracts, 2 true coaching plans, right? What's a coaching plan look like? How do you create one? We even have a template coaching review document, so you can review progress with the client and any sponsors and their manager. All right, and we're practicing real coaching. Okay, there's nothing simulated or fake here. Number 2, one of the things that sets us apart is we are situational. We are giving you practical, powerful, proven over 20 years in 32 countries, situational coaching methodologies. They're proven to get results and bring value. They're focused on the top leadership challenges that clients have. They're turnkey. You get them, you can use them immediately. There's a just-in-time library, including video instruction. And they're also a great source for you to market yourself, to give talks, write articles, and ultimately build on them to develop your own intellectual property. You can co-brand them, but you can also build on them. And again, they're grounded in the best practices of psychology, neuroscience, emotional intelligence, and leadership. And essentially what you get are the key areas of inquiry, right? It's not paint by numbers coaching. Everything we do follows the best practices and core competencies of coaching. But what these do is expand your ability to have robust, in-depth, and powerful conversations with your clients. So they have insights, they get results, they know where to go. So examples are here. Again, you can go on our website and see a video where we take you through our member area and you can see the ones, but if a client says, I have a conflict, can you help me? You have a methodology to do that. If the client says we have to set strategy, we can never do that, we never get anything done with strategy, you have a methodology to help them. Same thing with everything you see here. Motivation, engaging people, that's huge these days. Creating teams that work. Influencing and communicating with impact. Managing up, down, and across the organization, building one's power base, essentially. Success in a new role. Answering the question, why can't we execute effectively? Helping clients manage multiple priorities, right? Everybody's overwhelmed now. Things are so different. It's a huge area of coaching. Planning for succession, high performance culture, and many more, okay? Next, you are going to get the best marketing support in the industry, I guarantee it. Whether you're an internal coach or an external coach, you need to position your coaching powerfully. If you're internal, you have to be seen as a strategic asset to the organization, and we help you do that. If you're external, you need to be the go-to professional that gets called first when somebody has an issue that you can help them with. So in your member area, we have dozens of hours of step-by-step videos. We have tools, including sample proposals, how to price, how to write a proposal and when not to, how to sell as a coach without feeling like you're awkward or pitching. And most importantly, we can have one-on-one support whenever you wish. We're a small program. We're never going to be the biggest. We don't want to be. We want to be the best, right? So I talked to somebody this morning, Harvard Business School graduate, already working with great clients, wanted to talk about honing her niche and marketing. So we had a half-hour coaching conversation about that. That's open anytime. You can read the rest here. All I'm saying is if marketing and attracting clients is important to you, no other program comes close to the ongoing support we provide. Our people are amazing. I think I've already covered this. You can see just some of the organizations where people have worked. But our typical participants, we get asked this a lot. They're current or retired executives, HR leaders, entrepreneurs, successful consultants, speakers, writers, psychologists, professionals like physicians and attorneys, returned military leaders, tech experts, and professional and elite athletes and sports coaches. Another reason to join our program is we want you to open new doors. Okay, we're not just looking for you to be a coach, although that's a great thing to be and wonderful. We want you to be a trusted strategic advisor. We want you to be in the inner circle of your clients, having long-term relationships with them while you address many challenges that they have. As they grow, as their organization develops, we want you to be there as a trusted strategic advisor. Many of our members also recognize that coaching alone is great, but they can do more, right? They can facilitate, train, consult, assess. We also have some content about how to create a passive income, right? At some point, you're going to make enough money that you don't have time to do more. If you're trading your time for dollars, at some point you want leverage. You can get that leverage through products like writing books, creating programs, or through people, hiring other coaches under you. We've had people build firms. We've had people develop programs. So we show you how to do that as well. So you can open new doors with this beyond just coaching and the doors that learning how to coach can do. You get lifetime support. Most programs cut you loose after you finish. I mean, our lawyers say you get 2 to 3 years of support. Okay, let's say that legally you get 2 to 3 years. But the truth is, as long as I'm here and I have a successor as well, right? As long as we're both here and he'll have a successor after him, you pretty much get ongoing support. So we upgrade our materials every couple of years and you have access to that and you can call anytime for support. Okay. In fact, it's a source of pride for us to have ongoing relationships with you. All right. Briefly, let me show you what you receive. There's a ton, actually. You can download on the website a brochure about what you receive, but there's a 423-page textbook. You have access to 9 one-hour webinars every week on 3 cycles of 3. Huge member area. Again, you can see a video on our website that takes you through it. Coaching contracts and forms, actual assessments, and an overview of those that we don't own, but the third-party assessments that are used most. Our business development intensive program, essentially our marketing support, one-on-one support anytime you need it. We match you with fellow members to practice coaching, and you get a lot of certifications. You get our certified executive coach. With a little bit more work, you get our career coach if you want it. You don't have to pay more for it. You get our business coach certification. We have a great module for coaching the growing business. You don't have to pay more for that. It's included. The board certified coach is included in all we do. That's that third party we talked about at the beginning. You don't have to pay more for that. You just need a master's degree. And we even give you a specialty certification. You can create it custom based on research you do in the field about a problem the people in your target market have and how you can help them with coaching. So we've had people get things like technology leadership coach, diversity and inclusion leadership coach, which is super hot right now, women's leadership coach, nonprofit leadership coach, government leadership coach. You get the idea. And all of these folks have done some wonderful research that they can then use as part of their marketing, and they've met great people by reaching out to them to interview them. It's really cool. Just briefly, you can go to our website and see our pricing, but you have 4 options. There's our core program. You can add the ICF to that. There's a seminar that includes our core program, and you can get all of the above. Okay. You can pay in monthly installments over 10 months. We can even stretch that out a little if you're on an entrepreneurial budget. If you're a seasoned coach and you already have an ICF ACC, we can give you up to a 10% scholarship to get to the PCC, to get that additional training if you didn't complete an ACTP. If you're a seasoned coach, you might also go to where it says for seasoned coaches and check out our coaching solutions. You can just carve that out if you don't feel like you need coach training. All right, so what are next steps? We're going to take questions now, but let me show you one more time next steps. Go to our website, centerforexecutivecoaching.com. If you click Get Certified, that's where you'll see all our programs. And fundamentally, just let's have a strategy session, right? If you're on this, I presume you're interested and pretty serious about getting coach certified. So reach out. I'll type my email here. It's Andrew Neitlich at centerforexecutivecoaching.com. I'll put it in, or what's easier is info@centerforexecutivecoaching and just say attention, Andrew. Typing that. Okay, that's in the screen share. Let me stop recording and let me take any questions you have at this point.